Most homeowners have no idea that they can be paying their home off faster and making money at the same time. The way to do that is through a HELOC, and I've actually done that myself, and I did it back in 2020. June of 2020 is when I found this company and researched, and yes, like many of you, I had those initial thoughts of there's no way this is gonna happen. It's too good to be true. If this was a real thing, I would have already heard about it. And I've seen and talked to and heard all the naysayers and all the negative things there are about it, and I have personally done this from beginning to end. And so I love nothing more than to help other people learn something that I've learned. Think about it in your own life. When you found something that benefits you as an individual, if you care about people, you want them to know the same thing. So I broke it down a little bit on the screen behind us, so I'm gonna show you a little bit right here, right now. So check it out. We obviously got HELOC and mortgage up here. Some of you probably don't even know this, but it is a true thing. Look it up. Mortgage means death pledge. That should be your first sign that this isn't the way to pay your home off faster. As you see, mortgage, death pledge, right? I don't know the exact year, but it was around like 1913. Loans used to be open-ended, meaning when a farmer would have a home, they would get an open-ended loan from the bank. They were able to access their own money and move money back and forth. So the federal government realized and learned, hey, we want to have control over this, just like everything. I mean, one of the things I really focus on is I want to do whatever is best for me as the consumer, not what's best for the bank. And so the mortgage was developed. The one thing that I hear, and I'm talking from hundreds and hundreds of clients at this point, is the one thing that they want to talk about the most is right here, fixed rate. And you're gonna hear, HELOC doesn't have a fixed rate. Well, that's actually untrue as well. Yes, most HELOCs are variable rates, but there's a lot of other options out there that you're probably unaware of. But back to this for a moment. Fixed rate, you get focused on that. For those of you who got pre-pandemic, you maybe have a 2.75 or 3.25, or maybe at this point a 4. If you got in the last few years, you might have a 6, 7, or 8, whatever it might be. The point is that fixed rate, the only thing that it determines is your monthly payment. And what really happens is you pay it for 4 years, 7 years, 10 years, and then the bank calls you and says, hey, we can get you a lower rate if you refinance with us. And when you refinance with them and you move your rate from a 4.2 down to a 2.7 and you tell your spouse, you high five, that your payment has gone down, the 30-year process starts all back over again. Why do you think they're calling you to do that? So this fixed rate is not what you think it is. There's also no liquidity when you have a mortgage, meaning you have no access to your cash. So you're paying them monthly, and for some of you, like myself and my wife did for many years, we paid extra payments each month. So we put in an extra $200 or $300 in each month. Some people pay bi-weekly payments, some people pay an extra payment per year. Where does that money go? It goes straight to the bank. And then they're using your money to make investments to leverage for themselves so they can make more money. You do not win in this scenario whatsoever. So this is not a good thing. And then we talk about something else, compounding interest. Again, a moment ago, I was telling you about fixed rates. Your rate, all this determines is your monthly payment. So what you wanna do is there's a thing called TIP. It's typically on page 4 or 5 of your disclosure statements across the whole country. Go check out your disclosures, and there's a thing called TIP, total interest paid. For most people, that number is gonna be in the 40 to 80, some people 128%. That is literally the amount of interest you're paying on your home right now. It is sickening. When I found this out, my brain just started spinning, and I'm like, there's gotta be a better way. And there is. That's where the HELOC comes into place. With a HELOC, yes, rate is still here, but we focus on time balance first. What do I mean by that? Let's just say you can pay your home off in 30 years, but you're putting a few extra payments in there and you got it down to 18. That's fantastic. What if I said you could pay that same home off in 9 years, but the rate was a little bit higher? Which one would you take? 18 years of paying a lower rate is still gonna pay more interest than if your time goes down. And so we focus on time first. How can I get that time frame to come down? For me personally, I literally had 27 years left on my mortgage in June of 2020. I can show you the daggum statement. And then I talked to this company, they taught me this whole system, which I've taken hundreds of hours of experience since then and learned myself. But they said, hey, if we do our strategy, we can knock you down to 8 years. I got into the program, learned how to leverage my money, learned how to make investments work for me, and ended up paying it off in 3.5 years. So paid it off in October of 2023. It exceeded every expectation I had. And while this process is going on and I'm seeing my home be paid off faster, I wanted to start sharing it with people. And that's why I started posting videos on Facebook. This is, I was telling my wife, I'm like, this is literally changing everything for our financial landscape. I want my friends to know this. But the problem is, maybe not for you individually, but so many people see these videos and your first thought is there's no way that can happen for me. Or you get really cynical or skeptical. It's too good to be true. One of my favorite phrases from a mentor, he said, it's too good to be common. The bank is not gonna share this information with you because it doesn't benefit you. It benefits them. So I'm sharing this information with you because it can benefit you. And I wanna be clear up front, this is not for every person. You need to qualify, and there's things that have to take place to make sure it can even work for you. We focus on time, balance, then rate. So time is the most important thing. How fast can we get this thing knocked out? The second thing is your balance. Let's just say you bought a $400,000 home or a $300,000 home and you have $260,000 on it. How fast can we get this balance to come down? Instead of having your money always sit in your savings account or your checking account where you're earning 0.7 or 3.2%, whatever it is, how about you knock off your biggest debt and have that working, the interest coming down for you? So we get into a rate, there's a lot of variables with this. There's not enough time for this video to even show you, to be honest with you, but there is so many different variations of HELOC. So the first things first, when people hear the word HELOC, I would say 99% of people, literally, they're thinking second lien HELOC because that's how it's advertised. They don't put it out there. It literally says HELOC, but they're referring to a second lien HELOC. Let me explain for a moment. That means you literally still have your mortgage and you get a HELOC, which means you take out a line of credit out of the equity of your home and you go build yourself a new pool, or you go buy yourself a new car, you take your wife on a vacation to Europe. This is not what this is, and this is not what I advertise, this is not what I promote. And if you tell me you want to do that, I'll shake your hand virtually or in person and say I'm not the person for you. I'm trying to help you pay it off and get money in your pocket and get your money working for you. The second really important thing is it is liquid. What does that mean? That means if you have equity in your home, that for my wife and I, we had flipped 7 homes. And so the last time we lived in 2 homes ago, we had like over $100,000 of equity that I could never touch. What do you think was happening with that money? The bank was using it to make money for the bank. I had no access to it. So even if I paid that home off completely, if you want to do 2 extra payments a year, whatever it might be, and you pay it off in 15 years, you still don't have access to your cash unless you do a cash out refi. And this is the best of both worlds. And the entire time you have it, you have access to this liquidity. And so when you're liquid and it's paired with someone like me who has taken the years of experience and relationships to network with the right individuals who can help you get investments that work for you, you can actually start paying it off even faster. Because what you do is you take that liquidity, a portion of it, and you use it in investments that work for you while you're still doing your job. I like to say you're making money while you're sleeping. Lastly, or almost lastly, as we look at a simple interest. So compounding interest is, again, we learned your 3.25 rate is really not 3.25. You gotta look at the TIP, the total interest paid. Simple interest means on the HELOCs that we get involved with, it is recast daily. Every 24 hours it resets based off of your balance. Guys, this changes everything. I don't even care if you fully understand it right now. It literally changes everything because it's recast every 24 hours, so it's working for you. Lastly, you now have the access to leverage. And for those of you who've seen the BYOB, it's not bring your own beer. This is actually my acronym for become your own bank. By doing this, you're becoming your own bank on this method over here, as opposed to letting the bank and just following the system that was taught to us from our fathers and our grandfathers, everybody before, I guess, whatever the date was, 1912, 1913. This is the model that we know. For people who don't have your best interests in mind, a lot of you just don't think that this could work for you. And you're like, there's gotta be some type of trick. There's no trick. It is literally just math. And my favorite phrase my buddy taught me is it's math, not magic. So I've seen it work firsthand and I'd love to make it work for you as well. So one thing you need to make sure you even qualify for this strategy is you need to make sure that you're cash flow positive. What that means is on average each month, are you making more money than you're spending? That should be a pretty simple question to answer, but you'd be shocked at how many people are spending more each month than they're taking in. So that's very important that on average, you're making more money from your paycheck, your W-2, your 1099, whatever it is, than you're spending. Second, you need to make sure your credit score is at least at the 680, 700. That's what I like to see, 700. It's a lot cleaner that way. And lastly, you need to make sure you have 10 to 20% equity in your home. If you have those 3 things, we can get rocking and rolling ASAP and get you paying your home off faster, buying more time back, and moving more towards financial freedom with your family. If you like this content, like and subscribe below and follow me on my other platforms for more information like this.